in this video series, I'm going to be recommending games that you need to check out. Starting us off is Parodius for Game Boy. Konami made a heck of a lot of really awesome shooters and used to be a very creative company. So Parodius is a portmanteau of parody and Gradius. It's got Big Viper, Taco the Octopus, Twinbee, and Pentaro. Parodius for Game Boy is one of my favorite games that a lot of people don't know about. The first game was on the MSX computer during the 1980s. Interesting PC format called the MSX, and it was made by Microsoft, of all people, but they would license it for the Japanese market, and anyone could make cartridges royalty-free. Parodius shooting series got a start on MSX and on, I believe, 88. And then 1990, an enhanced arcade game, or follow-up, was released in arcades, and it was a huge hit. People loved the shoot-'em-up goodness. The Famicom version is awesome. The Super Famicom version is awesome. The Famicom version really have a lot of respect for when they are able to drill down what really made a more advanced game fun, but leaving that really applies here. This is Parodius. So this is the cat ship boss for the Uncle Sam. So Parodius, when it came out in 1990, a year later, the Game Boy port was made, and it is one of the better looking Game Boy games. It's really detailed sprites, really fun side-scrolling action, really good music. All the sprites are redesigned to take advantage of the Game Boy screen. It also takes advantage of transparency, so the options, and I lost my shields. It's one of those games that I like to play to see if the emulators or FPGA or whatnot is doing it right. So it does have the power-up Konami code that you can do once per level. So this game came out in Japan, and Howlsoft, Konami's fake, I can't believe we're not Konami labels, released it in Europe. And so you can get the European version, works on Western Game Boys just fine. There is no region lock in Game Boy. Konami games that didn't get localized when the emulator scene, I first became aware of this in the late 90s. I'm like, yes, show me those Konami shooters that we didn't get. Of course, I'm playing this on the Analog Pocket, which has the spaced-out graphics and looks absolutely great. But, of course, an emulator, they look like this. So this is the graphics, raw and uninterpreted. But, so a lot of the emulators, this is what it looked like. All right, the Walker. So one of the, I think, Gradius 2 had a walker boss like this that used animated tiles to do, and the boss is invincible, and you could only defeat them by, well, you don't really defeat them, you survive, because they have their little walk over the screen, and you have to maneuver. As scandalous as these graphics are, she actually has slightly more, than a little bit less revealing than the other versions of the game. Boy, this is, I don't want to get cocky or whatnot, but compared to like later bullet hell games, a little simple. You know, as far as shooters go, this is a really accessible one. It's really well made. It's not, this was a big hit in Japan, so it's not one of the most expensive carts to find. I don't think mine was terribly expensive. And there were the re-releases and the collections. Those are actually more expensive to get the collections than the original ones. Let's see, I believe this is, yes! I fail at Western history for not knowing what this song is a reference to. I know it's classical music, and it's also the Lone Ranger song, but I believe it also has origins in classical music. If you know where this music actually comes from, let me know down in the comments. This is wacky, it's weird, it's fun, really well made. So this takes great advantage of the Game Boy hardware. It plays good in emulator, plays good on original hardware. And am I going to make it? Yeah. And is genuinely a lot of fun. So they don't make them like this, and it's a crying shame, because they could. You hear that, Konami? You could dust off Parodius. You don't even have to spend a lot of money on it. You could just say, hey. So they could say, hey, we have some old IP that we haven't done anything. I would love to see independent, wacky. I mean, there has to be an entire generation of wacky game developers in Japan, in the West, that would just love to do something fun and weird with Parodius. We need to make more of them, Konami. You need to make more of them, Konami. Ooh, what is that? A pig with a homing missile. Ah, shoot. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome. Play retro. And get yourself a copy of Parodius for Game Boy.